Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. I would love for you to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you are notified of all of my future videos. Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing. This is going to be a big order from Sonlight. Sonlight is a literature-based homeschool curriculum. I am not affiliated with them at all. However, this will be our, I think, 11th level that we have used with Sonlight. We started with the P3-4 curriculum when Emma was like 2.5, I think. It's, you know, fairy tales and storybooks. It was not a real curriculum. Right up through this past year, we did level 100, which is an in-depth US history. We are still working through some of the history, which we will continue for the next few months. But I did place a big order, so I'm just going to go through it with you guys. So let's get into these giant boxes, which you cannot see on your screen. So these are not in any particular order. I did order 2 big packages, which are HBL J, which is the history of science. That is a newer level that they came out with maybe a couple of years ago. And then Science H, which I know is robotics, and a couple of other things which I cannot recall at the moment. I'm sure when I get to the instructor's guide it will say. And then I do have some just random odds and ends in here as well. This is not all of our homeschool curriculum. I know that I still need to purchase some things for Lucy, who is going into 1st grade. And I do need to get some other things for Emma and Jack. So Emma will be going into 8th grade, Jack is 6th, and Lucy is 1st. So now I'm going to start the unboxing. First book, Soar. Going Solo by Roald Dahl. Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Other Tales. The Outlaws of Sherwood. Finding Truth. I think this might be part of the Bible. Stuff Matters. Fish in a Tree. And I think this is actually maybe an arrow through Brave Writer that I think I'm going to do. I don't think it's a boomerang. I will have a later video, much later, after all of the Brave Writer book selections are out at the beginning of June. So stay tuned for that. Echo. The Mozart Season. This looks interesting. Code Talker, a novel about the Navajo Marines of World War II. The Teacher's Funeral, a comedy in 3 parts. The Giver. Interpreting Genesis 1 with Integrity. Archimedes and the Door of Science. What's So Amazing About Grace? Which None Can Shut? Remarkable True Stories of God's Miraculous Work in the Muslim World. That'll be interesting. The Clockwork Universe. String, Straight Edge, and Shadow, the Story of Geometry, which is good. Once Emma finishes up algebra, she'll be moving into geometry. The Mystery of the Periodic Table. Evolution 2.0. The Story of Science, Newton at the Center. Joy Hakim is the author of A History of Us, I think that's what it's called. A History of Us history books that we've been using this year for US history, which we've really enjoyed them a lot. The Story of Science, Aristotle Leads the Way. Bomb. The story of science, Einstein adds a new dimension. Canals and dams. Running out of space here. Garbage, follow the path of your trash with environmental science activities for kids. That'll be fun. The Industrial Revolution. Robotics. This, I think, Jack is really going to be excited about. So they do have a science portion that goes with the history of science level. I did not think that my kids were going to be that interested in that particular science portion. So that's why I chose level H. We have done some of the Sonlight science programs, not all of them. We have bounced back and forth between Apologia and the Sonlight science. The kids love all of the books with the science. They like the experiments. They're not a huge fan of the worksheets, but it is less worksheet based than the student notebooks that Apologia has. So we will see. I think the books will be good regardless of all of the other stuff. Planet Earth, finding balance on the blue marble with environmental science activities for kids. I really think the kids are going to enjoy this science. Energy, investigate why we need power and how we get it. Singapore 6A and 6B. I have used Singapore K through 6B with Emma, and Jack is now going into 6A and 6B, and Lucy will be using 1A and 1B this year. I love the Singapore math program. When they get into the higher levels of Singapore, I also pair it with teaching textbooks. So I want my kids to have a really strong math background, and yeah, so I don't need all of the teacher guides and workbooks, not workbooks. I don't need all of the teacher guides and textbooks because I already own those. So these are just really short, and 6A and 6B don't have very many. It only took us about a semester to do this, and then Emma did, when she finished 6B, she did the second half of pre-algebra through teaching textbooks to get ready for Algebra 1, which she's been doing this year. And then 1A and 1B for Lucy. We're almost done with the KB Singapore math right now for her, and she really likes it. I use the primary, not the dimensions. I know that they have a dimensions program now for middle school. When I started homeschooling, they did not have the dimensions program. So we went with primary, which is the original Singapore method, and we really like that. Usborne, weather and climate change. Super cool tech. Some of these books look like they're going to be a lot of fun to go through. Censored Science, the Suppressed Evidence. And then I have some instructor's guides, J, Language Arts, which I get for Emma. We tend to do Brave Writer for our language arts. I like their writing projects, the monthly writing projects that they do. We've done some partnership and faltering ownership, and I really like their arrows and boomerangs for the kids. You know, reading a book in a month and having copywork associated with that book and grammar and writing elements, and really everything language arts related through an amazing book. So we are going to continue to do that. However, sometimes I do like to pull from the language arts that Sonlight has. We have never completed a full year of language arts through Sonlight, but Some weeks we do some of the activities, some weeks we don't. We always do all of the reading because the books that Sonlight chooses are amazing. I love them. So, History of Science Instructor's Guide, Conservation, Robotics, and Technology. This is why I got this, because these are all things that my kids, my two older kids, are extremely interested in, and I think they're going to enjoy this quite a bit. Extra activity sheets for Science H for Jack. He will not do any of the language arts portion of the J. He will just be involved with the history part and the read alouds that are with that. So there's like history, readers, read alouds, all of that he will do, but he will not do the language arts or some of the more difficult stuff, just because I tend to bring him up to Emma's level, but adjust what he needs to do content-wise. I think this was a free gift if you ordered before all of the new curriculum came out April 1st, my memory book. I actually think this will be good for Lucy to do. It has some coloring pages and some prompts, places for pictures and stuff like that, which we'll work on together. And then National Geographic Book of Nature Poetry. That's interesting. Emily Dickinson, David McCord. Okay. Eileen Fisher. This will be good. I think my kids enjoy poetry. We do a lot of poetry during lunch, and we'll go around and everybody will read their own poem choice. I have a book. We have one poetry book that I got several years ago from Sonlight. I think it's called Favorite Poems from Childhood, and it's I think separated by season, but my kids really enjoy all of those poems. Some of them are silly, some of them they just enjoy. So we go around the table and everybody reads a poem at lunchtime. It's a fun time. All right, now I have my second box, which you cannot see. I got another binder. These are giant binders with dividers. They work really well to store the work, and they're pretty sturdy, so they do not break down. I still have my original binders from Sonlight, and they have held up over the past 11 years, so I keep them. They are just really good for keeping track of the instructor's guides. I have tried to buy other binders, but they never seem to hold up, and so I just get the binders from Sonlight. They seem to work the best. 2 pairs of safety goggles. I know that Emma had one pair from this year. I'm not sure where they are at the moment. I may find them as I continue to go through. You can see all of my homeschool stuff. I'm just trying to get through all of the cleaning, but I'm not there yet. A canvas tote. This is a zipper tote. I always like the Sonlight bags. This is a newer one that I haven't seen, but I think this was another free gift for ordering before April 1st, so unfortunately not available. Packing lists and timeline figures. We don't do the timeline as much as we used to. There's little stickers for different people, and it tells like a little bit about the person, and then there is a timeline book that Sonlight sells, and you're supposed to put the characters throughout your entire life of Sonlight use. All of these stickers. We do go through the characters, but we do not put them in the book. Some stickers for the books. I have purchased stickers for all of the levels that we have, because like I said, I think we have 11 levels. I have not put them on my books yet. I bought the stickers for all of the other levels. When did I get them? Maybe 2 years ago, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go through and sticker all of my books so I know where each book goes based on the level, based on the color sticker. So But I have not done that, and I am planning on doing that. And I said in a previous video that my hope this year is to log all of the books that we own in some sort of a library app. I think Library Thing is the one that I'm going to use, where you can scan the QR code and it logs the book, and then I can put them in a list for the different levels, and then also do all of my personal books and other kid books, all of the books. I think that will be a better way to organize things. And eventually I would love to have some sort of like checkout system, so when the kids take a book, I know who took it, and potentially it makes it back to where it needs to be in a timely manner. I'm not sure how realistic that is. All right, let's see what else we've got. Disappointment with God, 3 questions no one asks aloud. A journal, a Sonlight journal. Oh, okay, this is just a regular journal. I think this is another free gift. There were a bunch of free gifts when you ordered before April 1st. I feel bad sharing them now, but this was another one of them. I don't know if they sell these things on their website as like additional items, but if they do, I'll try and find a link for it. Half a Chance. A Christmas Carol, this will be a fun one. We have read that before and watched some of the adaptations, movie adaptations that they have. Treasure Island, Enchantress from the Stars, The Westing Game, Longitude, Shakespeare's Secret. I have another Half a Chance. I'm gonna have to go through my packing list to make sure that I have all the books that I'm supposed to. Belle Prater's Boy. I haven't heard of some of these. Penny from Heaven. Mr. Max, The Book of Lost Things. This one looks good. I definitely judge a book by its cover, so. A Ring of Endless Light, The Austen Family Chronicles. Holes, this will be a really fun one to do. I like to do, anytime there is a movie or TV series, miniseries, that has something to do with a book that we're reading, I try to incorporate that into our homeschool. Emma, especially this past year, she read or listened to all of the Jane Austen novels, and we have been making our way through all of the adaptations, the BBC miniseries, the movies that have been made, different movies that have been made, just to do like a compare and contrast on those things. She has really enjoyed it, so I'm going to continue with that. Everything on a Waffle. The Wolves of Willoughby Chase. The Phantom Toll Booth, which I feel like we have from another core, but this does not look like the same cover. Maybe, did we read this for something else? I don't know. The Phantom Toll Booth. The Thief. Pictures of Hollis Woods. Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. We have read this book, and I do have that. It was an Arrow that we did 2 years ago, I think, that the kids really enjoyed. The Gamage Cup. I may not be pronouncing all of these titles correctly, and if not, I apologize. And then this is science supplies for the experiments. I hate it when they say, you should have this thing in your home already. I never have any of the things that they talk about. Pinto beans, okay. Lots of yeast and clay, colored clay, syringes, straws, some wire. batteries. Apparently all of the things that we'll need for Science H. So that is everything in my 2 boxes. It is not everything that I'm going to be using for homeschool next year. There are more things that I need to get. Having 3 kids and doing a literature-based curriculum means a lot of books, but we really love reading in our home. It's one of my favorite things to do with the kids. So I love to see all of the new books. I am looking forward to a new year. I know that I've said this in several videos already, but this past year has just felt a little off for me. Even though we've always homeschooled, it's just been a little bit different. Not that it was bad, it was just different. We got everything done that we needed to do, and we actually had way more time and could have filled it better. And I think that is my main thing. Because we were not out of the house during the day a lot, because we didn't really have any place to go this past year, I have not had to be as much of a time management person because we've just had so many hours. We have been so efficient in years past to get through our work so that I could get the kids to the other activities like Emma's band practices and jazz band and sports, etc. So not having to do that this year has been different. And I think that my problem is that I feel like maybe we could have used some of that extra time in a better way. But my kids have had a great homeschool year. They have been so positive and happy and good attitudes and doing what needs to be done. So maybe all of that extra stuff is not necessary for us. But I am really excited about starting a new year. And I am excited about sharing with you all of the tools that we will be using. So look forward to that. I would love to hear, have you started shopping for next year? It seems to be the time when people start to think about the new year. That late winter, early spring is a good time to start looking at new curriculum catalogs and thinking about what you did well and what you want to improve on for the new year. So if you have started looking, please let me know what you are thinking about getting in the comments below. If you've already purchased stuff, I would love to hear what it is. That is where I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.